clear 40 for Raidable Crest Titans.
The 2018 Visit Conway Cambrian Rally would mark the start of an exciting season for the Jordan Road Surfacing BTRDA Rally Series, with current champions, previous champions and champions in waiting all out to do battle and, of course, have some serious fun out on some iconic stages across the UK. So join us for a look back at how the battle for the coveted Gold Star BTRDA Rally Series trophy was decided. Fastest out of the blocks on the opening stage of the opening round of the season would be local man Matt Edwards with Darren Garrett alongside. Sadly though, that wouldn't last. The pair would clip a log pulling a wheel off the car, leaving them to super rally. This would leave Paul Bird and Jack Morton to take the lead in the championship standings after the morning stages were complete. A lead of 11 seconds would be theirs. They would feel that there was more to come, but with the result already looking good, they probably didn't need to worry too much about finding any more pace. Swapping the older Focus WRC for the newer Fiesta World Rally car this season would be a sign of intent. Hugh Hunter and Rob Fogg were serious about the title fight this season, and they get off to a great start out of the blocks here at the opening round, second place in the points at this stage. The change to WRC power seemed to be suiting Luke Francis and John Roberts, third overall at this stage, settling in well after using the opening stages to learn the car. They were 5 seconds back from Hunter and looking to reel him in after service. Ocean Price and Dale Furness would bring the Spencer Sport Mitsubishi Mirage out for a run after a late deal. Ocean's first time in a right-hand drive rally car, so those opening miles proved to be a big learning curve. Fourth place though, with that in mind, was a good start to the rally. Things hadn't quite gone to plan though for Stephen Petch and Michael Wilkinson early on. A misfire early in the event wouldn't help their times, nor would a few untidy moments along the way, but fifth place certainly wasn't a bad place to start. Level on times as well, with Price in the Mitsubishi after 3 stages. In the afternoon there would be some lost time for Hugh Hunter and Rob Fogg. A puncture in stage 5 would knock their confidence, and with it their times. Eventually the pair finishing with 5th place. Some good points though to take from the first round of the series. The results in stage 5 would take a shake-up. We'd lose Luke Francis and John Roberts when they ripped a wheel off the car. A disappointing end to what was looking like a promising start to the championship for the pair. That, of course, though, would be good news for others. Ocean Price and Dale Furness ending the rally with the final step on the podium, just 4 seconds off that second place. And in that second place would be Stephen Petch and Michael Wilkinson. A championship to defend, things picking up for the pair in the afternoon stages, and the times were looking good. They moved up to take that runner-up position at the opening round, a great start to that defence. But showing their early pace in the championship, it would be Paul Bird and Jack Morton. They would take maximum championship points then in Llandudno. No better start to a serious title charge. With the unfortunate cancellation of the Malcolm Wilson rally due to snow, the Rally Nuts stages would become round 2 of the BTRDA Rally Championship, and it would be an ideal start for Matt Edwards and Darren Garrett. They needed to get that championship campaign back on track after ripping a wheel off on the first round, and clearly there was no questioning the pace in that Fiesta R5, taking 23 seconds of a lead by the end of the 4th stage of the day.
40, go 4 left minus in, 130, flat 5 right minus, 100, 6 left in okay, over bump 40 down, right tightens 4 in okay, then 40 turn square left, and it tightens, stay in, and 1 right in,
and it would be a good start too for Luke Francis and John Roberts. They needed some points on the board, and it looked good for that plan so far. second place early on. 17 seconds the advantage in that position themselves and chasing hard for first. And after taking maximum points on the opening round, it will be a slightly slower start out of the blocks for Paul Bird and Jack Morton here at round 2. Third place to start the day, but they would be pushing into the afternoon. Hugh Hunter and Rob Fogg were trying hard all morning, and it was evident. They ended the first half of the day just outside the podium places with 4th. A great start to the event, only 9 seconds off that podium. It was frustration though for our reigning champion Stephen Petch, with Michael Wilkinson alongside once again a wrong tyre choice, meaning that the pair didn't get the start that they'd wanted. 5th place at the midpoint in the day, 10 seconds back from Hunter, and they had almost a minute to the lead. So victory here at round 2 was looking in doubt. And indeed in the afternoon there wouldn't be much change for Petch and Wilkinson. They settled for 5th place. The times so close, that earlier tyre choice could have been the difference between this and a podium finish. For Hugh Hunter and Rob Fogg though, it would be 4th to end the rally. A good result, securing them 3rd in the championship standings after 2 rounds. Paul Bird and Jack Morton, meanwhile, were unable to take maximum points for a second time in a row, despite trying. But they do finish with a podium place in 3rd, keeping them 4 points ahead in the championship race going into the next round. The top 2 positions would all be about proving a point. Luke Francis and John Roberts completed the event without incident, taking 2nd place on only their 2nd competitive outing in a WRC Fiesta. A great result for the pair and some much needed points on the board. And the same could be said for Matt Edwards and Darren Garrett, opening their points account, putting right the non-score on the opening round to take maximum points here at round 2. Matt claiming his first ever BTRDA win. So that would bring the crews on to round 3, the Plains Rally. And it would be the early lead in the rally for Luke Francis and John Roberts. After 4 stages, the pair would have an 8-second advantage going into the midway service. Some of that lead would be due to problems for Matt Edwards and Darren Garrett, three-wheeling through the later half of stage 1 and losing some valuable time. Thankfully though for them, they would replace the broken wheel ready for the next stages, minimising the damage and managing to end the morning with 2nd place overall. And you have to face it, not that far back given those issues.
2 right. And it opens for 60. Here's a 2 right.
For Paul Bird and Jack Morton, it would be 3rd. They'd end the morning 12 seconds back from Edwards. The championship battle still good with this result, as far as the spectators were concerned anyway. But we know that Bird would be trying for that top spot. The gap back to Stephen Petch and Michael Wilkinson would be exactly the same. 12 seconds between them and Bird now, lying just outside the podium places in 4th. And indeed, that would be where they end the rally, missing out on the podium by just 8 seconds. And in those podium positions there would be a little change, but not for Paul Bird and Jack Morton. They remain in 3rd, unable to gain any more time on the lead through the final stages of the event. There was, however, a change at the top. Luke Francis and John Roberts dropping down the rally leaderboard, having to settle for 2nd place. Still a great result, of course, and some good points for the championship, perhaps the demons of earlier rounds behind them. But that, of course, meant that it was win number 2 for Matt Edwards and Darren Garrett. A great comeback from their earlier problems to take victory by 20 seconds by the end of the rally. From Wales, the championship would head north for round 4, the Carlisle stages, and would mark as well the crossover into the second half of the championship season. And it would be the early lead for Stephen Petch and Michael Wilkinson. Don't forget they have a championship to defend at this stage, and they made a great start as well to the event to lead the way by 15 seconds going into service. For Matt Edwards and Darren Garrett, it would be 2nd. They'd be a little way behind the lead, but keeping everyone else at bay crucially. Power steering issues were causing a bit of a struggle though, meaning that a different approach to the gear change and the handbrake was needed inside the car.
80, keep right, turn square left.
Right, you go down them slowly when I say 4, 3rd, 2nd, now pull handbrake.
Okay. square left, right into 2 left, okay, and 5 right long, 40 for small brow, right tight as 2 in, 100 over crest, left max in over junction,
Up 1.
130 up, crest jump okay,
And again.
40, 5 left brake, 3 right minus,
Just down 1.
go 4 left, 200, 200, crest.
With fantastic results on all rounds so far this season, it would be another strong start for Paul Bird and Jack Morton in Carlisle. 3rd place for now on just about their most local event and just 4 seconds back from Edwards as well. We would though lose one of our leading crews early in the stages. Luke Francis and John Roberts suffering in dramatic fashion with the dust of the cars ahead, the pair going off the road into a ditch, ending their rally hopes. In the second half of the event, there'd be a few problems for Pat Naylor and Ian Lawrence in the NR4 battle. Thankfully for them, Russ Thompson had already had problems of his own with the handling on the Evo. A puncture for Naylor towards the end of the last stage would cost them a little time, but they do manage to keep hold of the class lead and indeed take 3rd place overall.
150, keep it on, let's go. 150, 2 left, 60.
Frustratingly for Matt Edwards and Darren Garrett, it wouldn't be victory this time out. 2nd place would be theirs. Still though, some good points for the championship, putting them in 3rd place so far this season. But that meant it would be victory for Paul Bird and Jack Morton, and they took it by 21 seconds, giving themselves an 18-point advantage in the championship standings. By this point, the 2018 BTRDA season had given us plenty of action, as we've come to expect over the years, of course. Battles throughout the leaderboard, in fact all of the leaderboards, and a close fight for that 2018 championship title. And the Nicky Grist stages would be no different. And it was drama from the off. A brand new stage would await the crews first thing, and it would be the early lead for Matt Edwards and Darren Garrett, the pair opening up a 21-second advantage by the time they reached service after 4 tricky stages around the Epint military ranges. It had been a mixed season for Luke Francis and John Roberts in their change to the World Rally Car Fiesta. Some great results had been overshadowed on the points table by retirements. They'd be keen to put that right, making sure the Nicky Grist didn't go the same way. Setting 2nd fastest time of the morning stages was certainly one way to do that. Martin and Dawn England had gone well on these stages last year. Around, they seemed to always be able to pull something out of the bag from, and this year was looking like being no different. 3rd place, just 24 seconds back from Francis. Rory Young and Alan Carthers make the trip down from Scotland to tackle the fast, flowing and pretty iconic stages of Epint, and at times were looking good as well, just 8 seconds back from England in 4th. A further 4 seconds back, we'd find our reigning champions, Stephen Petch and Michael Wilkinson. Certainly they weren't at the top of the results where they would have wanted to be fighting as far as that championship defence was concerned, but they were not out of the running just yet. 5th place in fact for now. Russ Thompson and Andy Murphy came to this round with the Group N Championship in their sights. It needed a measured and fast drive to the finish, something which thankfully the pair had been able to manage all season so far, so the confidence was reigning high. Things would go to plan as well, leading the class and in 8th place overall. The afternoon would sadly see Martin and Dawn England unable to hold on to that podium place despite a valiant effort, settling for 5th at the end of the Nicky Grist stages. A good result still, and a close battle to the finish, which we always enjoy here in the BTRDA. Thankfully for Stephen Petch and Michael Wilkinson, they'd be a place gained, moving into 4th place overall, securing some more points towards their championship defence as we near the end of the season. In the podium places then, it would be a great end to the rally for Rory Young and Alan Carthers. Well worth a trip down from Scotland to take that 3rd place overall. For Luke Francis and John Roberts, it would be 2nd. The pair clearly pushing through the afternoon stages, trying their best to catch our rally leaders, or at least put the pressure on them to make a mistake. Sadly for them, they'd be unable to do either and also unable to take the win this weekend, but second place would keep them in the championship hunt for that little bit longer. But for the seemingly now unstoppable Matt Edwards and Darren Garrett, it would be win number 3. A great weekend, only minor issues to contend with, and a welcomed result pushing them to the top of the championship standings, now with 2 rounds remaining. The penultimate of those remaining rounds then would head to Shropshire for the Woodpecker stages, and fresh from his victory last time out, it would be Matt Edwards and Darren Garrett opening up a 30-second advantage after the morning stages. The pair clearly had that trophy in their sights, even if they wouldn't admit it. Edwards' closest rival would be Luke Francis and John Roberts. The pair had been consistently fast in their move to the WRC this season, despite a bit of inconsistency. A number of podium places confirming that pace, and the Woodpecker would be looking like more of the same, but would it be enough? Stephen Petch and Michael Wilkinson, all but out of the title fight now, had clinched the title on this round last year, but it wasn't looking likely, of course, this time around. They do start the day off well, though, with 3rd, keeping Francis in their sights and surely wondering if it was too little, too late. Meanwhile, it would be the lead in the NR4 class for Pat Naylor and Ian Lawrence. They only had one more round after this to try and take that Group N title, and they were clearly pushing to make this weekend count. Things not quite going to plan for Russ Thompson and Andy Murphy in the same way. 2nd in the NR4 class at this stage would have been something to chase into the afternoon, but sadly they do retire soon after service. Things also didn't go to plan for Hugh Hunter and Rob Fogg, the pair retiring on the very first stage of the day with engine problems. So onto those finishing positions, and it would be that final step on the podium for our reigning champs, Stephen Petch and Michael Wilkinson. They wrapped, of course, the championship up at this event last year, as we mentioned earlier, but it wasn't to be this time around for the pair. They would have to watch that battle unfold ahead of them. For Luke Francis and John Roberts, a last-ditch attempt wouldn't come to anything in the end. 2nd place, a puncture, slowing the challenge for the lead, but nothing that would have changed the results at the end of the day, scoring their 4th runner-up position of the season. But taking a convincing victory at the penultimate round will be Matt Edwards and Darren Garrett. Not only victory here in Shropshire, but also the championship victory overall. 4 wins this season, meaning they reached the finish of the Woodpecker stages as our 2018 BTRDA champions. So the Track Rod Rally Yorkshire marks the season finale for the Jordan Road Surfacing BTRDA Rally Series, and with Matt Edwards sewing up the series title on the previous round, this weekend would all be about those other places overall, and it was the early lead for Charlie Payne and Carl Williamson, previous champions, local boys, taking a slim 7-second advantage after the opening 2 stages of the rally. Things were starting much better meanwhile for Hugh Hunter and Rob Fogg this weekend, ending the morning with 2nd place and with a bit of an advantage in that position themselves, making them slightly more comfortable than previous rounds. And rounding out the podium places at this stage were Stephen Petch and Michael Wilkinson. It hadn't been a trouble-free run by any stretch of the imagination this morning, spinning the car on the opening stage of the day with a bit of early drama, but they do hold on to a 23-second advantage in that podium position. Pat Naylor and Ian Lawrence make a good start to the event in the N4 class. There weren't as many competitors out on the final round, but the main contenders were here, and they held the lead after the morning stages as well. Russ Thompson and Andy Murphy taking up 2nd place in the N4 class. This would still be enough to do what they needed to do as far as the championship battle was concerned, but for them, frustratingly, it wouldn't last. They retire soon after this point. The championship fight, however, would still be safe. With the loss of Thompson, it made victory for Pat Naylor and Ian Lawrence a little easier. Though they had, of course, led from this morning, they didn't do enough to take the class championship. But that result does give them 3rd in the title overall for 2018, another great achievement. On to the final all-important podium places though at the final round here in Yorkshire, and it would be a good end to the rally for Ian Joel and Graham Wood, taking the B13 victory, as well as that final step on the podium. those points giving them the B13 victory as well for the season. Frustratingly, there'd be no victory for Stephen Petch and Michael Wilkinson on home turf. They'd have to settle for second, but a result that confirms their second place overall in the championship for 2018. Which means, of course, for the final round, it would be the Gold Star victory for Charlie Payne and Carl Williamson, taking that win by just less than a minute after what had been a stonking season. Sadly, with only selected outings for Payne, it wouldn't give any significant result as far as the championship was concerned.
Long time coming. We've obviously been part of these events for 14 years now. I started in 2004 in the Cambrian, and this championship obviously means a lot to all of myself, my dad, with the involvement we've had in all the events over the years. So it's quite sentimental to have actually got it in the bag at last.
So that is the epic story of the 2018 Jordan Road Surfacing BTRDA Gold Star season, as action-packed and exciting as ever. And it starts all over again in February with the Cambrian Rally. Check out the BTRDA online for the newly announced 2019 dates. And in the meantime, keep an eye out for further season reviews coming soon on Special Stage. The Track Rod Rally Yorkshire would mark the season finale for the Fiesta ST Trophy, the fast, flowing and iconic stages providing a brilliant backdrop and a challenging end to the season. Quite fitting, really. Over the morning stages, it would be the lead for James Giddings and Sean Cunniff. They take a small advantage as well with that lead, but it wouldn't be without its moments. But that just showed that they were trying, right? No problems for Matthew and Tim Tordoff. They have a neat, tidy run to second place at this stage, just 6 seconds back from that lead. For Neil Fulis and Steve Vary, it will be a change of pace notes this weekend. There'd be one small incident to contend with, but apart from that, things were going okay. 3rd place for now. Bobby Mitchell, meanwhile, joins the championship ahead of a full campaign next season. Out this weekend with Sam Coleman alongside. Things do almost come to an early end though, as the pair go off on the first stage of the day. Thankfully, after a little work, they do get going again, but down in 4th place. So confirmation of the leaderboard at the midway point this weekend in Yorkshire. On to the afternoon stages then, and there would be change to the results. Neil Fulis and Steve Vary dropping down to end the event with 4th. No more incidents meant that Bobby Mitchell and Sam Coleman could push through the afternoon and put in some good times as well. They move up to take 3rd place, but frustratingly the damage to the times had already been done this morning. And as a result, the leaderboard at the top wouldn't change. Matthew and Tim Tordoff still remain 2nd at the end of the rally, a good result for the pair. And that of course means it's victory this weekend for James Giddings and Sean Cunniff. And indeed, a victory that gets them the top spot in the title standings. 2018 MRF Tyres ST Trophy winners.
Here, 40 for Raidable Crest Titans.